Welcome to the Language Learners Lounge podcast, where we discuss and learn more about the wonderful world of learning foreign languages. The views, opinions, and suggestions mentioned in today's episode are that of the hosts and guests and do not reflect any actual research unless otherwise mentioned or cited. Thank you for listening and enjoy this week's discussion. Konnichiwa, annyeonghaseyo, and welcome to a new episode of Language Learners Lounge. This was going to be an interesting one full of a bunch of different tangents. We're gonna have a lot of side rails on this one, a lot of big personal stories coming through here. So my name is Kyler Lopez, one of your hosts.
And I am Joshua Flood, one of your other hosts.
And we have an amazing opportunity here. For the first time ever on the show, we actually have a special guest with us to talk about some of these, to join us on these fun little side tangents, these fun little side rails. So please welcome my cousin, Ariel Settle.
皆さん、こんにちは。私はカエルのいとこです。アリエルです。よろしくお願いします。Hi everybody, I'm Ariel. I'm Kyler's cousin. I'm also was classmates with Joshua in a class we just took. This semester just ended. And I'm super happy to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, that story is kind of insane to talk about, honestly.
It really is.
It is. It was an adventure of a day finding out. So for everybody listening, I'll go ahead and share it if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
For everybody listening, as many of you know about, if you've listened to it, you know that Joshua and Kyler are both returned service missionaries, served together in Fishers, Indiana, ?
Indiana,
Yeah, it was like
Indiana,
a
close enough.
good range of area within Indiana.
I am also a returned service missionary. I served in my home state of Georgia. And my first semester back in college, I met Joshua in a Mandarin Chinese 101 class and found out because our teacher, had us all introduce each other we introduce ourselves to each other. And he said, tell everyone where you're from, etc. And so I asked Joshua, I said, because he was like, oh, I'm from Indiana. And I was like, oh, we're in Indiana. And I said, I have family in Fishers. And he was like, oh, yeah. And what's their name? I was like, well, my cousin, Kyler Lopez. He goes, Kyler and I do a podcast together. That's how I found out about it. I didn't even find out from Kyler. So that is my wild connection to these two.
Honestly, what if I just did not say that? It'd be like, hey, Kyler did mention that we mentioned a podcast. It'd be like, you saw the first episode and be like, oh, hey, that's Joshua from class.
You'd be like, wow, that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure.
What a way to find out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even if that didn't happen, I'm pretty sure the moment you would find out would be if I were to invite you on the episode, I'd just be like, so funny story, I've got a podcast now, would you be a special guest on it? And then you'd see each other on Zoom.
Like, yep, and I'd be like, wait a second, I know you.
So yeah, if you want to also go ahead and share a linguistical background about yourself,
Oh, yeah. Mine is going to be very similar to a lot of people's, I think. I took a year of Spanish in middle school and then 2 years in high school. So, yo puedo hablar un poquito español. I, in 8th grade started to take an interest in Japanese. So that was kind of where my language learning enthusiasm started. I had a friend who was also learning at the time, started to teach me a little bit. And so I started writing my name in Japanese on everything and picked the worst class to forget to also write my name in English on one of my papers. Got yelled at in front of the entire class, promptly dropped Japanese until I got to college. And then I started to pick it up again about 4 years ago. I am completely self-taught just through immersion and apps and whatever. And then as you heard, I also recently took Chinese 101. So 我会说一点中文. I speak just a little bit of Mandarin. Not very much though, so don't expect a ton out of me for that one.
Same
Yeah.
And it's a really fun adventure because you start to mix things up in your head a lot. So be prepared for me to start to say things in different languages.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being there. Like, I remember when it was just 4 languages for me, when it was just Haitian Creole, Spanish, Portuguese, and Swahili. I remember those moments when those words would just pop out, and some days they still do. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I was out here for FSY, that would happen so often, especially if I knew that we had foreign-speaking youth coming in. Like, one of my sessions was a Spanish supporting session, and I will always remember the random bouts of Spanglish we would just throw into our normal conversations with one another. It honestly made the day very fun, very entertaining. Makes it one of my favorite sessions I've ever done, really.
Yeah. Tell me, do you both get that like my legs are shaking, my heart is pounding whenever you start to speak a language to a native and you're like, I probably
Sometimes.
sound
Yeah,
terrible right now?
sometimes. It depends.
That was me.
Yeah, it depends how unfamiliar I am with the language. So, like Haitian Creole, Spanish, Portuguese, Swahili, and anything like that, I can stand confidently and speak that with a native speaker. But if it's one like Arabic or German, or even like Hindi or Chinese, I'll kind of be on like, I'll kind of have that weird nervous feeling where I'm like, please speak well, please speak well, please speak well. Don't unintentionally
Don't
swear.
judge me, I'm learning.
Yeah, please understand, I'm learning here.
Don't hurt to me.
It's one of those moments, really.
Yeah.
And so, as we're on this subject of, the idea of some of those fun little statements that come out habitually, that's kind of the key topic we're talking about here is whether unintentionally or intentionally, those statements that come out of language learning that we just happen to say in the foreign language that just click. We've all had those, like
The ones
Yeah.
that just like become part of your like daily language and then you say them and those around you are like, I don't know what that means.
yeah.
Speak English.
Yeah, it happens so often. It happens so often. Way too many times. The problem is with me,
Yeah.
there's so many languages going on that it's just like one statement comes out and they're like, English, please. All right. And then another language comes out that's not English.
But I will tell you, most of mine are Japanese because that's the media I immerse myself in. So I don't know if we want to like to go ahead and share some. One that I do the most, I think. The one that I do the most is actually Japanese onomatopoeias for like ouch.
Wait, hang on.
So in English you get hit and you go ow or something like that, right? Ow, ouch. In Japanese, the word for pain is itami, which you can also use like itai is like to hurt, something hurts.
Mhm.
But oftentimes in Japanese, it gets shortened because you're just speaking shortened. So the ite. So like smack something, and it might not even hurt, but I'll be like ite. I just use that one a lot. Or I'll be like getting up and my bones creak because internally I think I'm actually like 47 or something like that, And I'll like to get it up and I'll be
Just like prolong that last syllable.
just for a long.
Just to kind of like, this is how long it's been going on.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had that sort of thing. I remember when I was first learning Swahili, so fun fact about me, I learned the curse words of foreign languages as a missionary, mostly so that I knew who not to talk to. So I would recognize it, but I remember there was one time I don't think you were there, Josh, but it was one of the other service missionaries who caught it. I stubbed my toe real bad, and then coming out of me was like Chamani, which is me being like the F-bomb in Swahili. So I'm like,
Dare you say that?
but of course,
no.
nobody else knows Swahili except for me. So the moment I accidentally shout that, I'm like, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that. But nobody else around me understood what I said, and they're like, you good? I'm like, I'm breathing like a silent sigh of relief because I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Nobody heard. Nobody knows what I said.
Nobody knows what that means.
Except God knows what you mean.
Don't worry. I have since repented of that.
Okay,
I have
good.
since
Your
repented.
foul language.
But you know, for anybody who's like preparing for a mission, who's listening to this, key tip: learn the curse words not so you can shout it out yourself, but so that you can understand who not to talk to about teaching the gospel. I felt so bad for one of the sisters who had just arrived into our mission, who came from Haiti, so she never knew English. As a matter of fact, she was actually one of the English class students. This was actually before Josh joined in. For those, I don't think you've met Seikola.
No.
Yeah, she came in. She was one of the transfer missionaries who came straight from Haiti into the mission. So she was already one of the students for the English class, which felt interesting because, you know, you're expecting missionaries to be the ones teaching the class, but then you have one of the missionaries a student in the class. And I wasn't there for this story, but her companion told us about this. She had heard the F-bomb being flown around by many of the, you know, casual goers here in America. And, you know, poor innocent Haitian who is still learning English doesn't know what that means. So this,
Oh no.
so this poor innocent missionary is just like accidentally tossing out the F-bomb, and her poor companion just pulls her aside and is like, listen, this doesn't
Sister, you can't say that.
mean what you think it means. And I'm going to have to ask you to stop using it.
Sister, no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's a fun story to tell, but the poor sister that day.
Yeah,
Poor
I
sister.
bet. Finding out you've been using the foulest language in the English language.
Yeah.
You don't even know it.
Yeah.
Man.
I will say, at least for me, one of the things I sometimes try to do is learn what the swears are in another language. It's like in Spanish and French. I know like how to say the F bomb in those languages, and I'm not repeating them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might get in trouble if we do.
Yeah.
Japanese is probably my best language because I've spent so much time immersing myself in it. But that is one lovely, so you'll hear me talk about it a lot, but that is one lovely thing about Japanese is there are no swear words, just the severity to which you use the words. So, you know, something that could be normally just like fine, you know, like, oh, so, you know, like, oh, crap, you know, could also be translated to the F-bomb.
It could be, yeah.
if you use it rudely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, like one big thing in Japanese is that they're very honorific language.
It
Very
really
much
is.
so.
Yeah.
If you say the way you use the word for you can vary differently, and depending on who you say it to, it can be offensive depending on who you say it. Because like it to the point where sometimes the best thing to do is to just use their name instead of using or just omitting the you sometimes. Not that you can't use the you, but sometimes it's better to not. Otherwise, you might accidentally say one of the other things in the wrong context. Like, for one, I heard like the word for umai. Umai is like it can be. It's really rude.
Omae wa mou shinderu. Apologize, had to throw it in there.
I could tell.
Okay.
It's funny because in Japanese a lot, when you hear like casual friends, I watch a couple Japanese YouTube channels. There's one I watch, very popular in Japan as I understand it. They're called Fishers. They have 6 members. They're all guys. They're all like in their late 20s. And they use omae with each other a lot, you know, because they're really close friends. And so they'll be like, omae, you know, like they'll be like, come on, man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're really close friends.
You know, like they'll say that to each other. But like if you were in a formal setting, like for example, earlier, before we started recording, Joshua and I were saying hello in a couple different languages that we both speak. And he asked me, Genki desu ka? There's an example of like what he was saying where you omit the you. Just Genki is like energetic or happy, and then desu ka is like, are you question, you know? Um, and when I responded, I say, oh, Genki desu, I'm happy. But then I said, Joshua mo Genki desu ka? I use his name because you don't want to use like anata, which anata is like the least rude of them, but like kimi or omae especially is like particularly rude. When you're in a more formal setting, you often just use the other person's name and often with an honorific. I was classmates with Joshua and American culture, so I didn't use an honorific with his name. But like often you will, like I might use Joshua Kun or something like that.
Joshua Kun, Joshua San, and
Yeah.
I would
Well,
probably
you're
say
younger than me, so
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm younger than her, so she probably would not need to do that as much.
Probably not. I would imagine so. Yeah. But-
yeah, no. Japanese honorifics are a whole nother story. But what are some other instances where you guys use like you have phrases or what from other languages that you've learned that just kind of like come out?
There's multiple for me. It's not Japanese, but my strongest language is Haitian Creole, and you always hear this a lot from some Haitians too. But it's something that I always tend to tell myself sometimes when something goes wrong. When Haitians are told about something that went wrong, you'll always hear a lot of them say "C'est pas faute moi," which is it's not my fault. So sometimes I'll find myself doing something and then something goes wrong, and 9 times out of 10 it actually is my fault, and I'll still like walk away just to keep things light on my end. Just walk away and be like, "C'est pas faute moi," or even sometimes I'll just be working on something and I'll be thinking to myself, and it's not usually thinking in English that I'm doing to myself. So I'm usually thinking to myself in another language. So they'll hear me say something like, and then somebody will call my name, and I'll still have that language on my mind, and so I'll quickly whip around and be like, "Kisa," and they'll be like, "Whoa, what just happened?"
Whoa. That would startle me if I were like, "Hey, Kyler," and you were like, "Ah," I'd go, "Oh."
Well, especially that mixed in with me responding in a different language, it's even happened to me in Spanish, where I'm like speaking Spanish to be like, "¿Dónde están mis escritoras? No puedo encontrar, no puedo encontrar mis escritoras," and then they'll be like, "Excuse me, Kyler," and I'll be like, "¿Qué?" And just
¿Cómo?
¿Cómo? ¿Qué?
¿Quién es usted? Like just like turn.
Japanese is definitely the one that comes out the most for me. I like even sentences. So when I was learning Spanish, I had a couple that I would say in Spanish all the time, like "¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué estás haciendo?" Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now it's turned into, so for anybody who doesn't understand, ¿Qué hora es? Is what time is it, and ¿Qué estás haciendo? Is what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And even now, now that I've been learning Japanese a lot more consistently, it's kind of the language that I hear the most besides English. Now I do "Nanji desu ka?" What time is it? And "Nani shiteru no?" What are you doing? I do that one very incredulously a lot because I have a friend who sometimes gets on my nerves a little bit. Love him, but he gets on my nerves, and sometimes I'll be like, "Nani shiteru no?" What are you doing?
I did that a lot in some of my sessions for FSY. It happened a lot in the Spanish session where I'll look at somebody and be like, "¿Qué estás haciendo?" And this could be with like a Spanish speaker or with an American. Doesn't matter. It'll just come out.
Estás haciendo?
And then sometimes you have to keep head count of the youth that are in your group or your company. And so I'm counting down the people and kind of listing them off to myself, and I'll be shouting out, "¿Dónde está this person?" And then sometimes, just to throw them off, because first thing that the youth tend to learn about me is I'm multilingual, and that could be either from me telling them that, or from them hearing me speak another language, or just straight up my coach says it, which usually is like 60% me telling them, 40% my co telling them. 30% my co telling them. And then it's that last 10% of them actually hearing me speak a different language. And so I remember in that Spanish speaking session, sometimes I'll look around trying to find the youth, and just out of the blue, I'll like shout the youth's name combined with "Donde está usted?" And then just see whose head turns around.
Mix it up.
Just mix it up. And usually it's whoever I see drop their head laughing is the one that belongs in my company. Otherwise, you get everybody who's turning their head like, who just spoke Spanish there? Like,
yeah. What's that? Who's not speaking English?
and then it happened again in one of my other sessions. I was in Maine for this session, and we learned very quickly from our session advisor that we are going to be supporting the session in Haitian Creole and Portuguese. So I was in Wonderland for that, and so
I bet.
And so I did similar things where my youth learned that I'm multilingual, and so if I couldn't find anybody, I would ask the youth, and if they said they didn't know, I would step back and shout out, "Onde está such and such," or even switch it up, switch to Haitian Creole, "Such and such, que cote, and just let everybody look around being like, who's speaking the Creole? Or even for the Haitians, which white guy is speaking my language? You know? Like,
that's the fun part, is when you like are able to like speak fairly well, and someone who speaks the language is not expecting it, and they look at you and they're like, you speak?
oh, yeah.
You speak that language? I had one time, I was waiting to meet up with a friend with at our. Guys, I speak too fast. Serves me well in Japanese, but not in English. Was meeting up with a friend in our on-campus food court, and these two guys walked by. I'm standing by the Chick-fil-A line. These two guys walk by, and I didn't hear much of their conversation, but I heard chotomate. And I was like, they're speaking Japanese. And at that point, I was like, I am determined to make friends who speak Japanese so I can have practice with the language, because you guys learning by yourself is so hard because you got nobody to practice it with.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to be brave. By the way, guys, I have social anxiety. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to walk up to these guys, and I'm going to talk to them, and I'm just going to have a very short conversation. And so I went and found them. Like a stalker. I went and found them. I was like, sumimasen. And they looked over and they were like, you speak Japanese? And I was like, yes, only a little bit. But I was like, can we have a conversation? But it was funny. Just the, oh my gosh, wait, you speak Japanese kind of reaction that they give was really funny. I don't think they were expecting some girl who's clearly very much not from Japan. I mean, I'm tall, I am pale, like they were like, clearly an American girl walks up, sumimasen, you know. Like.
You see, I had a similar experience like at the very end of my mission. Josh, you were there for this, because this is like Festival of Fates time. It was my it was my very last day of my mission. He and I had just finished our post at our booth for the Festival of Fates. To kind of give context for the listeners who are probably lost when I say Festival of Fates, in Indianapolis, they do this annual convention of sorts. It's kind of more like a festival where all these different faiths, all these different religious groups just come together, and they have a booth or two that presents and talks about more about their religion based on a different topics. So I believe this time the subject was peace. And so Josh and I had just finished our shift at our booth, and it was a good while before the festival officially closed off, so we decided before leaving we would walk around, see some of the other booths, and you know, maybe find some language practice. So I got to talk with some people in Swahili, got to talk with some people in Japanese, got to speak to some people in Arabic, but there was one particular booth that we came across that was about Buddhism, and like it wasn't acupuncture, but they had a book that had a lot of Sanskrit in it. And so the booth, do we call them booth holders? What do we call them?
I don't know.
Good
Operators?
question.
I don't know.
Andes? I don't know.
We'll
people
call them
that-
booth holders for now, but if anybody knows what they're actually called, please let us know. But anyways, so the booth holder sees me reading the book, and I'm running my fingers across the words, and not the English words. I'm running my finger across the Sanskrit words. And so he comes around and is like, "Oh, that's a very hard thing to read." And I'm like, "Not terribly. I mean, I feel like I'm doing pretty well." And so at that point, he's like, "Oh no, that language is really hard to read." And I'm like, "I'm reading it just fine." And he's like, "Really? Really? All right, then you tell me what that says." And I'm like, "Do you want the translation, or do you want like actual word to mouth, like what I'm actually reading?" I was like, "Read the Sanskrit. Don't worry about the translation. Just read the Sanskrit." I don't remember what the word was, but I remember I read it perfectly, and I looked up and I was like, "How was that?" I've never seen more white in his eyes than that. Like, I look up, and he's like, "You can read it!" And then to my shock, I'm pretty sure Josh was laughing the whole time. I was pretty embarrassed. I was pretty embarrassed about the whole thing. But this guy now comes and puts his arm around me and is like walking me through the entire festival. And it's like, "Y'all, this guy can read Sanskrit. This is a white American boy, and he reads Sanskrit. He reads it better than I can, and I'm a native Indian." It was.
That is
Again,
so
bear in
funny.
mind, the whole festival, he's parading me around saying I can read Sanskrit and that I can read it better than him. By the time we get back to his booth, that's when he actually asked me how I learned Sanskrit. The whole
That's so funny.
the rest of the time was just him parading around and Joshua just laughing while following us.
Bro, I would have been so embarrassed. I would have been like, not that well, you guys. He's making this out to be way bigger than it is.
It was a funny story to tell my stake president when I went to get
It
released.
was a funny story. I will say, so yeah, if any of you outside of America think that Americans can't speak more than one language, just know that one American, at the very least, can read Sanskrit probably better than you.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. But
I mean, that's why I said probably.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
fair enough.
I mean, obviously,
Funny.
there's other people who probably studied it their entire lives, but
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, I had a youth who was native Spanish speaking, and she spoke English way better than I ever could, and I'm a native English speaker, for goodness sake.
yeah,
English
You'd be
is such a
surprised.
language.
It really
you'd be
is.
surprised. I will say, you'll be
English is my
surprised
least
with them.
favorite language I've learned.
What is it?
So English is my least favorite language I have learned.
And we speak it, and wow, good example here.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
an example. There you go.
Yeah, there's my little Chinese one. Yeah,
Yeah.
my little Chinese vocal habit. Yeah.
There's a good example of English being our least favorite language, despite the fact that we speak it natively. I couldn't even speak it there.
It's such a
No
difficult
puedo
language.
hablar inglés.
I definitely know this moment I'm gonna like clip and put into a highlight reel for the social
Oh,
media.
Oh yeah. Like just prime example. We actually can't speak English, you guys. This is all a simulation.
Yeah, it's all
We
a
don't
simulation.
Moi capare créer
Uh,
puis bien passer moi capare
What kind
anglais.
of
Bueno, solo
Well, what's
C'est
up,
évident.
man?
puedo
Power
hablar,
of Babel stuff
solo puedo
happening over
hablar
here.
español.
What an episode! What an
Power of Babel
episode!
happening. I tell you guys, I'm a bringer of chaos. I apologize.
No.
We love chaos.
What you said?
Yeah.
Oh man. So that
That's
should
funny.
at least show for you guys that we have no English stims, considering we get progressively bad at it.
Yep. We'll just keep getting worse.
Another thing I've noticed I've done with like foreign language tics, foreign language habits. You may have noticed a lot when I respond to you. I don't respond with like, oh yeah, in English, a lot of times you're having conversation, people just show they're listening. Yeah.
Yep.
I respond with
Mm-hmm. I've
mm.
noticed that.
Mm.
And I don't know how many people listening notice that already. That is actually a very Japanese thing. And again, that's the kind of media I listen to.
Yeah.
I watch. My favorite YouTube channel currently is that Fisher's channel I was talking about. They're so fun and they are active. And when I discovered them probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and
Ooh.
they have 15. They have a lot of years of content for me to catch up on.
Okay.
So I've been watching them a lot, but and they upload at least once a week. So I have been like invested in various Japanese media. Um, and that's like here's like another random problem that has come from that. In English, my language is a little bit coarse, even like especially for a girl. Like I have kind of a rough way of speaking. I don't speak very femininely in general. In Japanese, because my favorite genre of anime is shonen, I love watching YouTube channels like Fishers or Sushi Ramen Riku, if you guys know who he is. A lot of like between 23 and 28-year-old men and a lot of young boys in shonen and like stuff like that. So my Japanese is very much influenced by all of those media.
Yeah.
And so I also speak very rough Japanese, and I'm worried one day it's going to get me in trouble because I don't like I use a fairly feminine first person pronoun atashi, like that's a fairly feminine first person pronoun, but
Mm-hmm.
I do not use like if I'm with a friend, like with my friend who I've taught him just enough Japanese that I can talk to him and be rude to him in Japanese, uh, in a friendly and loving way. I should clarify. I'm not
Yeah.
actively rude, but like he'll say something or whatever, and I'll like, you know, playfully be like, "Uruse." But like that's like a very masculine, rough way of saying like "shut up, be quiet." Like or like Yamero is like stop. Yamero is a very masculine, whereas like feminine for Yamero would be like yamete. Like yamete is like a lot nicer and a lot sweeter. But I don't do that because I'm so influenced by the language I hear from Shonen and from these YouTube channels that I watch. So yamete is like not my personality.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I've had any sort of thing like that. Like, typically, if I'm trying to say, like, shut up, I usually resort to, like, silencio. And, like,
Silencio.
Silencio.
yeah, like, I'll resort to that. I don't think I've ever had to use, like, any rude ways of saying, like, be quiet or, like, shut up in any other
Yeah, my
language.
friend and I, we're just rude to each other. I had a roommate who was also learning Japanese, and one time my friend was over and he said something and I was making fun of him for it, and I was like, "Omae wa," and I said something to him and she was like, "Did you just call me omae?" And I was like, "No, not you. I would never call you that." But like she got so offended because I use rude language with him, but I don't but she hasn't known me for very long at that point. And so she was like, "Did you just call me omae? That's rude."
Oh.
I was like, "No, it's okay. With you,
Everything's
I'd be
fine.
nice. With you, I would use yamete, yamete kudasai." She was super fun, though. She is the only other roommate I've ever had that, like, actively also makes Japanese food, which is, like,
Ooh.
something that I do. Like, she would make onigiri almost every day for her
Oh.
lunch. And I was like, I strive to be like you. If only I had the patience to make onigiri more often because it's so good, you guys. It's so good.
Yeah, if I could have make if I had the patience to make onigiri, I would have it every day. It's really good.
If I had the patience to make any of the foreign language food I've had, I would do it any kind of. I would do it
Yeah.
any day.
Oh
I could
yeah.
have it for breakfast
Money
if I
and
wanted.
pay. Oh yeah, pay time and money.
Nice
yeah.
thing is, besides the rice, because sushi rice is expensive. Onigiri is really not that expensive to make. Besides the sushi rice, because you could just
Yeah.
I fill mine with like tuna that I mix with a little bit of mayo and sriracha sauce. It's pretty good.
Anybody else ever like saying that eating food of different cultures is a good way for you to learn a language?
I've never heard that. No,
Really?
I haven't heard that.
actually, no.
I've heard it all the time when I would hear Haitians ask, how do you speak such good Creole? We would always say we had a lot of Haitian food. And so, we would have some Haitians, after we finished teaching them, be like, "Vous parlez bien Creole, que côté vous apprendre Creole?" And we would just approach them and be like, "Nous te manger en pile manger haïtien," which is, we just eat a lot of Haitian food. And
I have never heard that.
we use it all the time, and 9
Maybe
times out of
that's why
10,
my
it's actually how we kept a
Japanese
lot of
is
the friends
as
we
good as it
taught.
Maybe that's why Japanese is my strongest language, you guys. I eat so much Japanese. I told my mom once, I was like, I want sushi. She's like, when do you not want sushi? I was like, good point.
Now you see, I blame
Maybe I
myself.
need to eat more sushi.
I mean traditional Japanese sushi, like just the rice and the salmon on top, or I really like an eel one, unagi. So good.
You see, I blame my Spanish on my heritage. The Portuguese and French, I don't know where those came from. Despite the fact that I found some of those in our family history line, I doubt those had any huge influence on those. So I'm just going to keep blaming it on the food until I actually find out.
Yeah.
Para mi español en el templo, hay muchas hermanas que hablan español solo, hablan español. So there are a lot of sisters at the temple when I served there that their first language is Spanish. They only speak Spanish. So on my particular shift, I actually learned that language I had a lot more practice because they would send me. So I helped in the laundry on Tuesday mornings, and on Wednesday nights was when we had sisters that only spoke Spanish. And they would be like, okay, Sister Settle, we want to send Sister Rivero in the laundry, but she doesn't speak English. So can you go down there and train her? Because you speak Spanish. And I was like, you guys, I speak conversational Spanish, not laundry room Spanish. I don't know these words. So it was a fun experience learning how to do that. She taught me a couple words, but it was fun. It was in those situations, you learn just how much you don't know.
Sí. Fue muy perfecto que usted aprendéis, if I'm using that correctly. Past tense is always weird. We had an entire episode talking about past tense.
I believe it. Yeah. Past tense is so nice in Japanese. Mashita. Shita. Tabemashita. I ate it.
Yeah, we had a good long tangent about past tense in one of our
Somebody's going to come at me in the comments and be like, Japanese past tense is more complicated than that, and I know it is, but...
Yeah.
Hang on, was it the most
Honestly, don't worry. Sometimes we both say things, and they'll probably get it, and that will honestly get us in the comments.
People are going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm like, I know I don't. That's okay.
It's like, yo LARPers.
Yeah.
LARPers. Language LARPers.
So I did look. It was our previous episode that we talked about past, present, and future. So literally 2 weeks ago, if not a week ago, that we talked about it.
Yeah, very recent. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Because was that the one that you invited me to before?
I don't think so. I think the one I was originally inviting you to was talking about scripts. I believe that was the one.
Yeah, that one I have a little bit of experience with. Well, it made my life difficult learning it.
Well, I mean, if you had jumped on, we would have done this topic. But
that's true.
Yeah. But when
this topic was my idea, guys.
It was her idea. It was like when we first started this podcast, you had posed this idea, and then it was like down the road, we're like, we got to get some episodes out there first before we start bringing in guests. And then here we are, 9 episodes in, and now we're like, all right, let's bring in a guest. And so definitely this is not going to be the first time we'll have a special guest on the show. We've gotten many other requests for like different topics or like, languages to focus on, that we have other guests lined up to bring in that speak that language. Funny enough, one of those requests is ASL.
Want to learn ASL? I can do the alphabet. I can say how are you. You guys, I have a problem though. I can also do a little tiny bit of Japanese JSL, Japanese sign, and it gets me into trouble because I will try to say thank you to somebody and I do Japanese. I learned that one too.
Instead of doing this, you did.
Yeah, instead of like single
That's
hand
like
down, you just gotta,
sumimasen. And like thank you. I'm holding my phone, so I can't do thank you. Thank you uses two hands. You put one and you lift it up. But
yeah.
yeah, sumimasen is like you pull. Like in ASL is this one.
Yeah, you do it from the
Right,
chest.
you pull from your chest. In Japanese, you pull from your eyes, and then you bring your hand down, and that's like a sumimasen, gomen nasai kind of a thing. It's like I'm sorry, or excuse me.
Okay.
Word, yeah. Random fun fact for like snow. The Japanese word for snow is yuki. Yuki means snow, and so you make in ASL this is F, correct?
Yes.
Right, you make F with both hands and you bring them down. And that's yuki in Japanese. You have to you do it with both hands. And they kind of like alternate. And so it's like, it's one hand and then the other, but you make Fs with both of them. And that's snow in Japanese sign language.
Interesting.
And how that's ever going to help me in life, I have no idea, but I know it.
I don't know. Maybe if you find a Japanese person who's deaf.
True.
Maybe.
I should probably learn the Japanese alphabet in sign language if I run into.
Probably. That would be important. I would imagine so, because then if you have to like finger spell your name in Japanese, you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know A and A are the same.
Oh, that's good.
So like so my name in Japanese, Ariel. I know A because it's A in English.
Man, well, we very quickly came up on time. Dang.
Oh, holy cow.
Yep.
We got a lot of side tangents in.
Yep.
I am ADHD. I believe we're all ADHD here. It's
just the nature of the podcast.
I think so.
Are all over the place.
I haven't been
guys.
diagnosed with ADHD, but maybe
yeah, it's a fun one.
I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I'm scared to get diagnosed.
I don't know. I've never been officially diagnosed. I one time story for later, but I one time they put me on meds and I never took them.
Oh, dang.
That's such a real moment. Whew. But otherwise,
yeah, who needs doctors anyway?
I do actually. Anyways, we're on time, aren't we?
Anyways, so yeah, we had a lot of fun discussions about some of the things that happened to us in our language learning journey. With all those habitual statements, and if you have one that happens to you, feel free to share it.
Share it. We'd love to know.
Yeah.
we definitely
love
would
to continue this bandwagon. If not on this episode, just in the comments, just keep it going, like what's a foreign language statement that you just habitually switch to?
Yeah.
Just on a whim.
Yeah. And sometimes it could even be like a simple phrase. Like sometimes I say gracias or parfait.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes
you guys, I get into trouble because I say thank you in so many different languages. And so someone opened the door and I'll be like, shit. And they look at me and I'm like, I'm sorry, thank you.
Same thing happens to me. A lot of times I'll switch to excusez-moi. And
oh yeah, that one I say too.
Yeah, a lot of times saying excuse me, I'll switch to that. I won't even say excuse me. I'll just go excusez-moi, or I'll even just go like disculpe-me, disculpe. Things like that.
So much trouble.
So it is. But yeah, thank you guys for listening in. Thank you, Ariel, for joining us for this conversation.
本当にありがとうございました.
It has been wonderful having you on this episode. It's been
I
great
enjoyed it.
It's been great having these side tangents happen, and hopefully our viewers get a kick, if not a lesson, out of this episode.
Yeah.
本当に楽しかったです.
And so, with that, we hope to have you guys tune in next episode. Real quick, do want to give another great shout out to our good friend Benny Coons, who recommended a wonderful language learning app, which I've had actually quite a bit more success with. This guy created a language learning app to focus more on conversational language learning than just word from text. I have actually had a couple people reach out to me on this app called Tandemate to practice their English and Sometimes it falls short, sometimes it actually flows through, but it has been amazing. It actually works so well. So for someone who pioneered this app on his own, it is a wonderful language learning app, great for conversational practice, even if just in writing. So I 100% recommend it. Again, it's called Tandemate. It is amazing. And
Can you spell that for us?
yeah, so it's Tandemate.
Yep.
So again,
Awesome.
it's called Tandemate, free to use, wonderful language learning application there. Just wanted to throw that out there before we officially close off the episode. But now we can officially close off the episode. So
Yep.
Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you have a suggestion for what you want us to discuss, please leave us a message either through our email or through social media. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you sit with us again in the Language Learners Lounge.